Welcome, everyone, to the Cluster Puck Podcast, part of the MHRT Network here at Center Ice. I am Nick. Beside me, as always, is Brit. How's it going, Brit?
Good. How are you?
Oh, good. Apologize for that slight delay. My computer decided to restart about a minute before we were supposed to go live. So either way, we're here. We're ready to talk shop. Before we do, though, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the MHRT Network so you can get notified when shows like the Cluster Puck Podcast go live. You can also follow us specifically on our various social media accounts, Cluster Puck Podcast on Facebook, and then Cluster Puck Avs on Twitter, Threads, and Instagram. All right, Britt. So 1 week is in the wraps. We're an undefeated, might I add, which very, very good. Only 3 games, which isn't a lot considering you had a whole week. You know, you should at least have 4 or sometimes even 5 in there, but that's okay. Yeah. So I guess let's kind of do a little weekly recap here, and kind of talk about the highs and lows of what we saw for that, those opening 3 games against Los Angeles, San Jose, and Seattle. And then we'll kind of talk about things we like, things we saw, and then get into various other news pieces throughout the week. So first game, Los Angeles, we win the game 5-2. Overall thoughts on that season opener down there in Los Angeles? Big win. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's really, and this can be said for just about the 3 games in a whole. There's really not a whole bunch to complain about. I think kind of some of the growing pains that you anticipated, we saw some of those. They weren't as glaring as we might have anticipated they would be, but on the whole, there's really not a whole lot to complain about. We came out and we really didn't have anything that was super concerning. Nothing that we didn't absolutely dominate, but if that's the worst we're going to be at this point, the hardest we're going to struggle to play as a whole, then there's really nothing you can be mad about with how we played, especially in that LA game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we even did talk about it last week, right, about the Los Angeles game, because we threw a short little season opening episode, filmed an actual one after the LA game had happened. Again, with the exception of probably that second period where LA did storm back to make it a 3-2, you shut the door, you take the momentum away, put it back in your court. Like I said, there's nothing to complain about in that game. So again, overall thoughts,
And I think that, the best thing that I take, and you can almost just speak to all 3 games kind of as a whole, because we just kind of had little different things that were noticeable, but for the most part, we kind of brought just about the same game for most 3 games. One thing to take home and notice is that Georgie gave us a chance to win every single game, even when we had Mackenzie Blackwood giving us by himself trying to steal that game. I mean, that was as close to being goalied as a team can be. And the most reassuring thing is that when you're a team that has experienced success, that success is finding ways to win in different situations. And sometimes those games, when you're playing a crappy team that's simply a goalie that's standing on their head, finding ways to win and pulling it out along with a goalie behind you that's going to give you every chance to win, that is success. I mean, that's truly a sign of a successful team that's molding right, because those games are hard to win, and a lot of really good teams will pack it in and just throw it away. But those are the kind of games that you want to win, because you might look back, and when you miss good playoff positioning by 1 game, those are the kind of games that you look back on and you should have won them. And now it's nice to take home those points. I mean, that's Blackwood stood on his head. It was truly an incredible, that might be the game of the season, which is always fun to do in the first week, but it was just really, really nice to see them play all the way up until the end and close that game out and win. And especially to see Georgie that game all the way through too. It's really hard to play as a goalie when you're not seeing a shot for 5 minutes at a time, and then you get big, huge breakaways to make those saves. That is so, so crucial in a goalie. I mean, that's very hard to do.
It is. And speaking of that San Jose game, it felt like the Avalanche, and you even touched on it, and this is a result of how good Mackenzie Blackwood was doing.
Mhm.
The Avalanche didn't make a single mistake in the game. Like, they played basically flawless. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
have many notes as far as the overall play. It's like they did everything they could, and they did everything right.
Yep,
Um,
and I mean, the goal was a fluke. It was just very fluky. It was not,
mhm.
they would have won off just a total joke,
Yeah, and I know most people are like, "Well, San Jose played very terrible. They weren't up to snuff." Uh, I think San Jose played okay. Granted,
Yeah.
that's based on how they're expected to. They played very well, and it was
And the
because
thing is,
Blackwood
that's
kept them in
how
the
the
game.
NHL goes. And I'm looking at the scores here. So if we go back through, they always talk about parity in the NHL. If you go through the opening night, the Oilers and let me see if I can pull it up. I mean, the Oilers
Canucks.
got stomped by Vancouver, who's not supposed to be very good. We've seen the Coyotes win games that they shouldn't be winning. We've seen the Wings winning games they shouldn't be winning. We've seen
Mm-hmm.
all of the bottom feeders have been winning huge, important games. And we
Yep.
have seen teams that are predicted to win the Stanley Cup or at least be late cup contenders drop
Mm-hmm.
games. So the fact that we come out and we are truly the only top end team that didn't drop an egg to a lower end team it's a big deal because it's really easy to lose to those teams, especially on the road.
Mm-hmm. And that's just it. Is the whole throughout the season and stuff, we have these games that we like to label as trap games. It's
Yep.
like, oh, watch out for this. Any game could be a trap game. If you think about it, it's a 50-50 chance of you could either win a game or lose the game. Now, granted that, like we talked about, there's all these statistics and stuff like that, but that's the end of the day. It's like you will either win or you will either lose. And the
Yeah.
game itself just kind of flourishes and develops until it's run its course. And that's kind of one of the things, especially in that 22 season when we won the cup, obviously with the motto being find a way, you have to find yourself in all types of situations. Like, for example, the one with the Kings, how to maintain a lead and make it grow when momentum swings against you. San Jose, how to essentially defeat an how would you say it? To defeat an undefeated goalie, basically,
Yeah, we
who's
scored
just
on
playing
what, the
out of his
49th
mind.
shot of the game. It took us almost 50
It
shots
was
to put one in the
it,
net. It's insane.
exactly, and that's the thing, is it takes those types of things, and then the same thing with the Seattle game, which we'll get into in a second, which is basically, can you win an ugly game, more or less? So that's kind of been something that's reassuring, is despite what people are saying about certain players, the pace of play, whatever it is, the Avalanche are finding ways to still get the victory. Yeah, they won't come at will. You have to go and earn them. But it felt a lot like the 2022 season, because there were a lot of them where you had to find a way to win. Granted, they were mostly come from behind victories, which obviously we wouldn't want to have as many of those, but you still have to find that way, and they have been.
Yeah, and a lot of it is coming, I think that our penalty kill has to be the number one in the league. Have we let in a goal on the penalty kill yet? Our penalty kill has been such a shining. I mean, our penalty kill has been incredible, and it's not always been a strong suit of ours. Our penalty kill has truly been a better point of offense than our power play at this point. Our power play has been a point of struggle, and our penalty kill has truly just, you could not ask for anything. We're just the top notch. It's amazing. I really am shocked. I didn't anticipate special teams to be something that we'd thrive on so much out of the gate with some new people on the team. But wow, it's really impressive what we're doing on the penalty kill. Power play,
And
not
it's
so
been
much.
well, and what's interesting though, and this became apparent in the Seattle game, which we'll touch on here in just a second. With the power play, we've been getting into the zone for most of them. For I'd say 80 and 85% of them, we've been setting up just fine, taking all these ridiculous shots, being aggressive with it. There's just nothing that's come out of it, which is kind of crazy, which either says that their penalty kill is great, or we're just not
Yeah,
because I
well,
know, and
definitely.
I've been a big defender of this, is take shots, right? I keep saying take shots, but I guess
Well,
I
and we're
really
not.
should
I mean,
clarify
we
and
were
say take
outshot
smart
on our power
shots.
play. On our power plays, during power play time, we were outshot 4-1 in the Seattle game. We had
Really?
one shot. One shot. That's an
Hmm.
absolutely insane. With more people on the ice, we allowed for, and there's definitely growing pains with that. I'm curious to see if we do end up switching that up. Johansson, while his power play or his face-off skills are top notch compared to what we've had. He is
Mhm.
really killing it with the face offs, especially during the power play. That is crucial, but he is very clearly mentally and physically a step behind, which it does take. People think that you should go out there and playing with McKinnon instantly makes you better, but it doesn't. It's going to take a minute for him to
There's
be
a
able to
learning curve.
skate
Oh yeah.
and learn to anticipate at that level, but he's definitely struggling a little bit there, I think. And I'm
Yeah.
curious to see if we do something with Nuke up there, or if we'll just continue to let him kind of push through that.
Well, and that'll actually lead me right into the Seattle game. So let's talk about that. So you talked about first how moving lines around. They did originally start with Nichushlan and moved Drouin
Mhm.
down to the second. But again, about mid-game, they switched that back to how it was because
Yeah,
clearly it was a better thing for them to be 1-2 instead of 2-1. Anyway, um, with the new guys, I still think, give them some time. They're all playing fine, right? They're not doing
right,
anything dumb or ridiculous, and
right.
there are bright spots that all of them are doing. But it would be nice to just see a bit more aggressiveness,
Yeah.
I guess, on that power
Especially
play, especially since Ryan Johansson is having the part of Gabriel Landeskog. He needs to have those quick
right.
reactions to quickly just redirect the puck into the net because
Yep.
Landeskog was a professional at that. He was amazing.
Yeah.
So just stuff like that. But again, I'm not giving it too much of a worry. I'm not anywhere close to a panic
No,
button.
nobody has come off so far as a dud. I think that maybe people are wanting to definitely see a little bit more out of Tatar more
Hmm.
than anyone. So at this point, but I'm not sure that that's his role, is to be flashy. So I mean, he's not hurting the team at this point, but
Hmm.
also we have yet to see kind of Drouin really pop off yet. And I'm curious with that Nuke move, if that was kind of more to get Nuke going versus punish Drouin. I'm curious. We'll see how those lines shake up. I do think that Bednar did make a statement that they were going to have Drouin back on the first line with Mac. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that shakes out. But it's too early to claim anyone a dud. And at this point,
Oh yeah.
nobody is actively hurting the team. So there's really
Yep.
nothing to be mad about or super concerned for. Miles
Yeah.
Wood and Ross Colton continue to just steal hearts of Avs fans.
Yeah.
They're both integrating so well, especially when people like Miles Wood did not have the highest expectations for him. I think people were looking for a reason to be upset about that, and at this point, I don't think anybody can complain.
Yeah. No, they're playing mistake-free hockey. All of them, all of our new guys, including, and this was one who I really wanted to score. He had a couple good scoring chances. Was Olofsson.
Yeah, yeah,
And Freddie Olofsson, and he, for being fourth line, that fourth line is a pretty well-oiled
yeah.
machine, if I do say
When
so
you consider
myself.
a lot of those
They are
plug and play
pretty
guys, yeah,
good.
they can really be black holes on a team, and he just still he's not standing out drastically as being any kind of problem. So there's definitely some catching up to do, but there's really nothing but positives at this point.
Hmm.
I'm excited. I'm excited to get this game going on. We got the season opener, the home opener tonight.
The home
So
opener tonight. Yep,
yeah,
I'll be on
hopefully,
after our regularly scheduled program, of course.
yeah.
So let's finish up then real quick talking about the Seattle game. I mentioned it as an ugly game, and it kind of was. The whole game was very pedestrian on both sides. Um, the first thing that I noticed was ESPN. It took them an entire game to pay the Avalanche a compliment, which just drove me up a wall
So it's
because
like
it's
it
like
physically hurts them.
we're up 3-1 at that point. I think no, who was it that netted the third goal? Rantanen, I think it was Rantanen. And finally, the ESPN team pays the Avalanche a compliment, and it's like I don't know what to tell you. The only thing they were
Yeah.
paying attention to was the shots on goal, and it's like we ended up with
Yeah.
28, which is kind of par
Right.
for the course on a regular game. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyways, that aside, the game itself was not very bright, like just on both
Right.
sides.
And who
The biggest thing
thrives
I
during
saw,
ugly hockey? Who is our ugliest, most just reckless hockey player that thrives in the ugly? It's Mr. Logan O'Connor.
Logan, that would be Logan. Um, and that was a shining spot where he get a Gordie Howe hat trick? I don't think
No,
so.
I think
He
he
came
needed
close.
he
I
needed
think he needed an
I think he
assist.
needed an assist, yeah. I tell you, like, there's not I love a lot of players, like, with all my heart, but there's not many players that I love the way that I love Logan O'Connor. He is just the epitome of, like, that hard working, just I mean, he has truly pounded through every barrier that's ever been put in front of him, and he is not supposed to be as good as he is, but he has busted his ass so hard to be there. It's just I he is the shining example of how you want somebody to work and push and push and push and push, and he did just that. And like I said, I did not pencil him to come out and be our enforcer this year, but he's out there making
He
them pay.
he just might. He just might be. And I don't see how Eberle decided to fight him. It's like for his first
Mhm.
shift, and he says,
Yeah,
"Hey, let's get this over with." I'm sure that's kind of because everyone knows that Eberle's
right,
hit on Cogliano wasn't malicious, the same as Cale Makar's,
right.
right?
Just kinda is
Wasn't
what it is.
malicious. It is what it is. But Logan O'Connor said, "Hey, we just have to settle this once and for all." And Eberle's like, "Okay, fine."
Yeah,
Just Logan, and that's the thing. Like I said, it wasn't with hatred. It wasn't with anything. He basically wanted to send the message saying, "Hey,
yeah, get it out of the
this
way.
this is get it out of the way. We're done here." And then he goes on to score that shorthanded goal, which, like I said, you need to slot him for 2 or
Yeah.
3 of those in the
I
season.
know. What's a I think that I heard that he's only scored 4 in his career, which is wild. Because I
It feels like he's done it in like 1 game
yeah,
or
yeah,
1
it's
game.
crazy, but that's shorthanded goals just don't happen a lot, especially for one person to do it consistently because it usually is a fluke thing, but he's forcing it. He forces the issue, and he's such an impressive person, and an impressive player, and he's really a player that any kid who's had to grind through not being the best player at every level should look to and look at for,
Mhm.
just a style of play and just that grind it out.
Yeah. And talking about grinding it out, like this Seattle game was definitely one where you fall behind first, right? Same with
Mhm.
the San Jose game, but you're quickly able to tie the game up thank you to a goal by Arturi Lehkonen.
Yeah.
Um, and then you continue to just basically grind through the game. It was not easy because I counted on 2 hands and 2 feet the number of times Avalanche players ran into each other.
It
Oh,
was
that was driving me up a wall.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's, there's definitely some, like, communication, like, lacking communication, for I don't know, it's weird because I've never seen it happen so much, and it happened, a couple times. I think it was in the first game or the second game. I think Duran ran into one of our own players, like, 2 or 3 times, so I don't know.
No, and it's like, what do you do in those types of situations? You can't blame the ice every single game. Although this one, it did seem that sticks were or pucks were kind of falling off sticks. So half of me was like, maybe this ice isn't that great.
It does seem that every rink we have played in so far, the puck had or the excuse me, the ice has been a contributing factor.
Hmm.
I know that in the San Jose game it was an issue, and with the LA game it was a pretty big issue. So it's you got to think about how much of a difference it makes to have good ice versus bad ice,
It really
especially
does,
when
and
you're a fast team.
exactly, and that's kind of where there were a couple chances where Sam Gerard would quickly dump it off to a guy coming down screaming down the slot, and he would just
Mhm.
mishandle the pass, or the pass would get mishandled once it got to the stick. Ice does make a difference, and so that's kind of why I was like, maybe the ice was a contributing factor. But in either sense, the Avalanche win that game in Seattle, therefore going 3-0 on the season. Great way to start, like we talked about. So couple things during the week that happened was the first one. We finally get to talk about this is the Devon Taves contract signing. Signs a 7-year extension for $7.25 million. What was your first reaction when you heard that?
Well, I immediately text you, and when I found out the AAV is like, I had to go to Twitter and just see how the rest of the league felt about it. And just like I said before, everybody is pissed. Like it's just another steal for us. The rest of the league is not happy that we keep doing this over and over and over again, and that we are setting, not us, but the Avs as a whole are setting up an environment for people to want to stay and leave money on the table. Very rarely at this point in time do people leave money on the table to stay. And it's very telling that he chose. And he said in an interview that he knows he left money on the table, but he wants to play here with these people, with this team, with this, and it feels so good. I mean, we essentially have the best defensive line in the NHL locked up for just above what Austin Matthews is going to be paid next year. I mean, that's
crazy.
Criminal.
Yeah, when I heard that, because I was thinking, because I saw the rumors saying, hey, it's picking up steam, or it's going to happen soon. I'm thinking he's making 9.5, maybe even 10, because you look at how other players have been signing their contracts for that type of term, and I'm like, Taves fits that bill, so it's it's gonna be a lot, and we're gonna have to sacrifice some stuff for him to stay here. But then you see the news, basically 7 for 7 for 7. I was very happy, first of all, because like you said, it was something way below what I thought we were going to end up paying him. So that means we can have now that a little more flexibility to keep and resign players, or go out and offer better ones, or for better ones, I should say. But yeah, just like you alluded to, we're going to have one of the best defensive top lines in the NHL for
the entirety of their career.
A few more years,
Does the term concern you at all? The 7 years?
Not necessarily, because the only thing I think they might do is kind of front load that 7.25 so that they might pay him a bit more this year, or something, in those first 2, 3, 4 years, and then kind of taper it toward the back. And that people tend to do that. It could, or vice versa, or whatever. I'm not too concerned with him, because his age isn't too far gone. He could still, he's a pretty tough guy. So I think he could
exactly where
get a big shelf life.
Doesn't worry me at all. If there's any position beyond goalie that ages gracefully, it's defenseman. Of his style, he's not playing some maniacal play. And also, you have to consider the fact that he was a late bloomer, and he didn't get going in the NHL until he was 29. He was a late regular NHL player, so he has a lot less miles. So I just I really have no concerns with him. I think that he is going to be valuable up until the end of that contract. And it might be something like Eric Johnson, where he's overpaid a little bit at the end. You're willing to handle that. To have a slower veteran defenseman of his caliber, to have him locked up for his peak and then some.
So you talked about it. You said he's 29 right now. Oh yeah, he is 29 right now. So yeah, it's, 36. That'll take him to about 36 years old. You see defensemen go until they're 40. So
especially defensemen who are conservative like him. I have no fear that I really think that he's going to age very gracefully.
Yeah, I think it'll be just fine. So another thing that I kind of threw, I don't want to say a jab to anyone, because it's the only thing anyone ever talks about when it comes to Devon Taves. I put this on when we did our news post there. I said he was from the Islanders. We acquired him from the Islanders, because that's the only thing anyone ever talks about when it comes to Devon Taves. It's like, okay, you do know he has like a dog shelter too, or something like that, where he does like a puppy adoption program or something like that. It's like, let's talk about that instead of the fact that he was traded now 3 years ago. Get over it, New York.
People are so sour about it. They'll never stop being sour. Take that regret to the grave.
I guess. But anyway, we're super happy to have him. We're just beyond blessed to have players that want to be here,
Yeah.
and take those types of discounts. Not everyone, right? But
Yeah.
it has that effect, that kind of family friendly effect, if you want to call it. So
Yeah.
I got 7 more years of good old number 7. So
I like it.
okay, next piece of news. During the Seattle game and during Logan O'Connor's shorthanded goal, Cale Makar made history by becoming the fastest defenseman to 250 points, and he did so under 250 games, I want to say. So
Mhm.
that was like almost a point per game, just about. It was like 242 games, and he got to 250 points
As a defenseman.
as a defenseman.
It's I
What
feel like
else
he's
can you say
been
about this
doing this
guy?
for years. He's just gonna be breaking Avs records and NHL records. It seems like about twice a year he hits a huge milestone. At some point, the only records he's gonna be breaking are his own. He's going
Hmm.
to be continuously breaking his own records. That's what I am trying to live in the moment more and appreciate the players that we're watching now instead of always looking back on history. And Cale Makar is history. Like right now, he is
Hmm.
making history. We got to appreciate him while we've got him. I mean, when he is done and retired, we are going to look back and just continually be stunned by what he brought us. And
Hmm.
I'm so glad he's on our team.
It's one of those things too, where it's like I think back to like it's Tom Brady, right? It's like
Mhm.
we grew up with watching him. He was just
Yeah.
we always had to you always had to beat Tom Brady, or people wanted to beat him. But then when he's not there, it's like, oh my gosh, we don't live in a world where literally the greatest
Yeah.
quarterback to ever play the game is
Yeah.
there. Love him or hate him, you have to admit he was
Gotta
the greatest,
respect
right?
the great. Yeah.
Same with Cale Makar, only this one, it's like he's on your team, kind of like with what you
He's
said, where it's like
so young. He's so young.
he's got so many more miles left in him, and he's already doing all this. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't surprise me that he broke this record, and it doesn't surprise me he'll probably be fastest to 300, 400, 500 points.
Yeah. It's something we've got to appreciate as a team. And
Yeah,
just like the NHL as a whole. And I think that he finally is getting the league for the most part recognizes him as the best defenseman in the league and one of the best players in the world. And I really think that the only like dissenting opinions are just people who like to be problematic. Because at this point,
yeah.
if you can't respect him, then you don't appreciate hockey as a sport.
There is one group that I know does not like this and does not like Kale, and that would be the Seattle Kraken.
Oh yeah. They can
Because
they can
you
hit me
heard it too.
with it.
Anytime he touched it, it started with these very thunderous boos, but throughout the game they got
I mean,
quieter and quieter.
of all people, Cale, I just can't even possibly imagine holding a grudge against Cale, even with what happened. Like, if you can't take Cale for what he is, and that's like a walking saint, then you got to
Yeah.
find something to be mad about. That's all it
And
is.
and actually, since we're thinking about this, Allie does post actually a good question
Yeah,
about these types of developments. So it's basically how the Flyers fans were upset about this because they passed on Cale Makar.
yeah.
So did a few others, right? But they passed on Cale
Oh,
Makar. Would he have developed into the same player?
I truly don't
You
believe
know,
so.
Allie doesn't think so. Avatar here doesn't think
No.
so. I personally don't either. And that's the thing is it there's chemistry, right, between your
Yeah.
player and your organization. There always is, right? For example, the Colorado Avalanche and Matt Duchene ended up butting heads. The
Well, and he
chemistry was
came
not
in
there.
at the peak of his college career, moments after winning the Hobey Baker. He comes
Mhm.
in,
Scores a
experiences
goal.
some success and then some disappointment, and then he comes in surrounded by hungry, successful athletes ready to win,
Mhm.
just on the cusp of the biggest success that a hockey player can achieve, and I truly think that his path has helped him develop into the best he can possibly be. The people he's surrounded with, the path that the team has taken, the front office, the coaches that he's been surrounded by, all it takes is one crappy entrance into the NHL with a team like the Flyers, and you stunt somebody's confidence and their ability to integrate into the NHL so fast. It's insane how quickly a person can be ruined.
Yeah. And you talk about these types of players, because like Cale Makar is kind of one of those rare breeds, like you said, where he was thrown in with all these other hungry wolves that
Yeah.
wanted success. They wanted all this stuff, and he comes in at just the perfect time where basically all he knows is stay hungry. That's
Yeah.
basically what he grew up with, so to
Yeah.
speak. Whereas you have those other players, like for example Connor McDavid, and I'm sure we'll see Connor Bedard,
Yeah.
where they become the focal point. They have a mantle placed over them, and heavy is the
Yeah.
head that wears the crown. But they have then created a team around that particular player, a generational talent. So
Yeah,
what Cale is
I feel
doing
like
is
very helpful for him to join, kind of as a hidden gem. People really didn't realize how good he was
Mhm,
until around the end of the playoffs, and he was surrounded by people who took a lot of the noise away for him, and, it's it's just now coming to a head that this guy actually is the heart and soul of the team, and I think eventually I do believe that he will take over captaincy once Landeskog is, done, but
mhm.
he really did get a grace period of kind of a
Yeah,
hiddenness to him that people didn't know about, and I think that that was very helpful.
yeah, and, like, I think another big thing for Cale Makar achieving everything that he has so far is the fact that he is a Stanley Cup champion and Conn Smythe winner.
Mhm.
That being able to taste that and know what that's like, know the hard work and stuff, kind of like how Nathan McKinnon is, it fuels you. It gives you that
Yeah.
the want to get not just one Stanley Cup, but
And
two,
to model
three.
that for the people that we bring in to fill these holes year after
Exactly.
year. There is a
Exactly.
winning mentality that is you cannot understand until you've done it. And any
Exactly.
NHL player will tell you that it's something that you don't know until you know.
Nope, that's exactly it, and it's that taste you wanna always have. It's success, it's knowing you've come to the top of the mountain,
Mhm.
and that's something Cale Makar possesses, where he doesn't give up, he doesn't quit. He's got that captain-like demeanor about him, and like I said, we are just beyond lucky that we landed him,
We
and
are. We really
I
are.
think the chemistry just, it's like it came together and then it grew and have this white glow to it, angels
Yeah.
singing. But
Yeah, I mean, one of God's greatest
what
gifts
else can you
was
say?
us not winning that lottery and dropping down to 4th
Yeah.
because that's truly will go down in history as
Yep.
the luckiest draft of all time for us.
Yep, absolutely. So we can't sing Cale Makar's praises the whole
No,
time, so
there's
we
not
we
enough
do have to
words.
move on.
Yep.
Um, so let's go into actually our 3 stars of the week. Um, I don't think I gave you too much notice, so I'll give you a pass. I apologize. I wanted to try to put this into a new type of thing where instead of trying to do too much on the look ahead, we kind of focus on the three
Yeah.
stars of the week.
Yeah.
So I'll go first, my 3 stars and kind of why I pinned them as such, and then obviously Britt, maybe that'll give you time to think. So,
Yeah.
um, so my third star of the week goes to Cale Makar. In fact, his overall play has been fantastic. Obviously, he's already got a couple goals to his name. But just watching him continue to do what he does again, we just sang his praises about 10 seconds ago. You can't say enough about him. Um, he did a really good job, being able to have that vision, especially for like Logan O'Connor's pass. Um, there's nothing else to say. He just no quit, works hard, puts his nose to the grindstone, and just his skating ability was amazing this week.
Yeah.
So that would be my third star of the week. Second star, this one was going to be a bit of an interesting one, but I'm going to give it to Logan O'Connor. And the reason
That's
why
right. I
is
had to do it
because
for a
is
second.
his effort. And that man, if you want to, like I said, Cale Makar had no quit.
Yeah.
Logan O'Connor doesn't even have the word quit in his vocabulary.
Yeah.
Like
It's
that whole
lovely.
time, especially it was a very apparent in the San Jose game and the Los Angeles game. That fourth line, headed by Logan O'Connor, was all over the place. It was amazing.
I
And
mean,
I thought
that's
they were going to get 3, 4 goals just themselves.
yeah, elite
Um,
4th line. Our 4th line has been fantastic. And that's not
it really
something that
has.
people are usually that, excited to sing the praises of the fourth line. It's just like, don't screw up. But our fourth line is truly elite at playing their
They
specific
are.
role. It's such a special role. If you can have it done right, it's invaluable.
Yep. And for Logan O'Connor, he could play first line if he really wanted to. We put him down there because obviously he is the greatest skater. He's fast. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
And he has, again, this kind of bull in the china shop finesse.
You could just get the puck on the net. Good gravy, my guy.
But that shorthanded goal definitely helped, setting a tone, being a fighter.
Yeah.
That Seattle game was his game. You know,
Yeah.
he was the one that I was like, hey, where's Logan? I want to see him get a hat trick. So he would be my second star just because he just was amazing with his work ethic.
Yeah.
Yep. And then my first of the week, I am going to give it, and I think Avatar agrees, would be Alexander Georgiev.
It's nothing has been more stable than him. I mean,
the reason we had put out as many good shots, the reason we were in these games and keeping leads, whatever it is, you have to remember goaltending is a big factor for these types of wins. And Alexander Georgiev has done exactly what he's asked. You know, he's had a couple where, 4 goals in 3 games. I'll take it.
I think he's the number one
any day of the week
right now. He's rocking nearly a 96% save average. He's
about 95 point something, and
absolutely incredible. Yeah, it's such a weight off our backs to not have that be a concern.
Yep. So again, he's been playing stellar. He played his 100th game over the week.
Yeah.
And he's got
the confidence in the shootout, the way his swag, he's
very calm.
He's so here for it. And he's ready to win games. Yep. And he's got a chip on his shoulder. He wasn't chosen to be the replacement like he was supposed to be for Lundqvist. And I think that chip is going to drive him forever, truly forever, because I'm sure he's sick and tired of hearing about Shesterkin, and it's time for his name to be up there. So he's definitely my number one star too.
So that's kind of what I have. I am looking right now. Is he projected to start today for the home opener, or is it gonna? He is. Okay, so that's good. And again, it's like I if you're only allowing in an average of 1 point something goals per game, through 3 games, granted small sample size, but still, it's like if that's your trend, if that's your pattern, that'll do. I'll take it. So first star for me is Alexander Georgiev. So what about you, Brit? Again, I know I'm throwing this on you last second, but
no, I mean, that's really where I am. Georgiev, he's my number one. I mean, I'd give him 1, 2, and 3 if I could, and I know that I'm goalie sympathizer, but you literally could not ask for more out of him. He has done everything that we could ask out of him. Logan O'Connor probably would have been my number 2. I think maybe to get some different names out there for my 3s, we'll do a tie between Mikko and Miles Wood. I just think that Miles Wood has come out every game working super hard. And in his position, that's exactly what he's going to need to do, is continue to work really hard. And I haven't seen the slack from him yet. And then you've got Mikko, that shootout goal, and just his wrist shot is my 3rd star of the game, because just his shot is so elite and so incredible. And the way he does it so effortlessly, he almost looks disgusted after he scores. Like it's just no thing. And it's so hard to truly appreciate that wrist shot without standing on the ice and looking at the goalie and just seeing how little space he has around that goalie to shoot. It's honestly art. Just watching him, it's so beautiful. It's so good. He's really scaring me because he is getting a lot more notice. I don't know if you saw in Chicklets where they said that he's the most underrated player in the NHL, and he's got a contract coming up, and he's got very, very valuable, very valuable. He's truly just keeps getting better and better. When 3 years ago, we'd spent a lot of time bitching about him. And at this point, there's really not much left. He's really just fixed and tightened everything up.
No. Yeah. And you look exactly what you said last year, 100 points, over 100 points, I should say.
I see him doing it
and
again.
no one talked about it.
Right.
That's the most insane thing is it was kind of just, oh yeah, and by the way,
Oh,
Miko has 100, good for that guy. And it's like, hello,
and it
100
sucks
points
because
is
there's
not
value
easy to
in
get.
yeah, there is value in guys going under the radar. And now the league is on notice with Makar and Rantanen. Like there's no hiding those two anymore. They know.
Nope. And so I guess that then begs the question then is Rantanen, he'll be out, is he free agent end of next season, right?
Um,
I think he's got this one and next season.
yeah,
And then he's
I
free
believe
agent.
that's correct. Yeah. And
I
don't think he's going to be as team friendly as Devontae's, but we'll see.
I would agree. I don't think it's going to be as team friendly either. However, I still think the Avalanche will find something
We will
to get
keep
done.
him. I think it's
I
top
think we'll
priority to
keep him.
him. And I think that
It's
he
not
does
going to be
want
like,
to be here. This is all he's ever known is
yeah,
playing with McKinnon and Makar. I mean, it sets a tone to play with people like that and going to a team. If he takes the bag, he's probably going to be expected to be the guy as opposed to one of the guys. And I don't know, that's where he thrives the same as how he does with it being more of a team effort with McKinnon in the lead. I think he's going to be driven to want to stay. And I think they'll make every effort humanly possible to keep him. So.
Nope, I totally agree. So those are our 3 stars. Let us know in the comments or DM us, whatever you want to do. Let us know who your 3 stars of the week were for the Colorado Avalanche. Love to hear your guys' opinions on this. Okay, moving on. Look ahead for this week. We do have a game tonight. Starts in about less than an hour, about 45 minutes here. Which, might I say, for all the East Coast Avalanche fans, an 8:30 tea time is not good.
Why is the game at 8:30 when it's at home? My son has not even gotten to watch a game yet because they're after his bedtime. Like this schedule has been insane. It's absolutely absurd.
So they have, I think, out of the next few home games, I think only like 3 or 4 are at 7 Mountain Time, like they usually are, 8 Central, right? The rest are just at these bizarre times where it's like, what are we doing?
Or
Like I just
Sunday night, every single game started at 7:00. Like, what is going on with the
yeah,
scheduling? It's
I don't
absolutely
know. The schedule is so freaking weird today or this season. I don't get it. But
yeah, they need to
either
respect
way,
their elder fans that need sleep.
that's right.
Or at least
That's
this is
right.
when we do our productive stuff. Like, and
That's
my
right.
kid is so pissed because we keep having to watch him the next day, and I can't let him stay up till midnight watching a hockey game. Like, go tell his teacher Mother of the Year. But yeah, it's getting pretty old too.
Yeah. But they do have the Blackhawks, so Connor Bedard and company are going to be in town. Obviously, all eyes on this big ESPN broadcast. Going to be a fun game. What are you looking forward to most in this particular matchup?
Something that I'm curious about, there's been a lot of discussion, and I don't know if it's just Merrick or if it's kind of been a general discussion, but I'm curious to see after all the discussion revolving Sidney Crosby whomping Connor Bedard in faceoffs, like making a point to beat him. I'm curious to see if we see Matt come out like balls to the wall trying to win those faceoffs and feeling extra competitive, not in like a malicious way, but just you don't want to be shown up by the 18-year-old that's getting all the jazz. So I'm wondering if we'll see a very ultra hyped up McKinnon tonight. And maybe he'll win a couple faceoffs just out of pure spite. Be nice.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, and it's nice that we do have. I mean, so they've got their first line, and they're doing well. I mean, the Blackhawks really are doing quite well. Taylor Hall is back, but they've got one line, and after that, there's really not a lot there. I'm excited. I like watching Connor Bedard play. I just really wish he wasn't in our division so that I could cheer for him more genuinely. It's just this is another one of those like we're watching history be made. So I'm excited to see the game, and it is nice that we have with us having hometown advantage, being able to line match. We should be able to whomp them. I mean, we can put McKinnon out on the ice every single time Bedard is out on the ice, and we really should be able to. I'd imagine that the broadcasting will be absolutely puke worthy if you're having to watch it not with the Avs broadcast. It's
going to be all about Bedard.
Yeah, I would probably mute it because we're not going to even know that there's Avalanche players on the ice, and that's okay. I'm not a hater of the Bedard thing, and I believe in we can't bitch when they don't market our players and then get mad when they do market the players. And it's totally fine. Make the kid famous, and he's sweet and he's fun and he's smart and he's a little bit quirky and he's clean cut. I think he's a good one.
A little emotionless as well.
But I think you got to be like that. Could you imagine one of us softies trying to handle that kind of media pressure?
No,
I cannot even.
Or extroverted, mind you.
He's handling it very well, so I'm excited to watch him play.
No, and you nailed it on the head for this. This one thing to watch. Well, I guess actually there's really two. Obviously, Connor Bedard, how he handles himself against just barely removed Stanley Cup champions. Right. They got a bunch of new players. Obviously, people are going to want to kind of put him in his place, if you're the Avalanche. But at the same time, it's like you want the kid to succeed, right? You really do. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how, because like they put Bedard against Sidney Crosby game one. Now you're putting him against Nathan MacKinnon, right? He's going to be your opposing centerman. And that's, if you thought Sidney Crosby was something to tout about, Nathan MacKinnon is going to be something different, because he's going to be a man on a mission. He's going to basically be like, hey, kid, watch this.
Well, and even more important than MacKinnon, I think the absolute most important person on the ice to have a good game tonight is Georgiev, because any goal that he lets in is going to be on replay over and over and over again. And you don't want to be one of those, like how we felt with Seattle. Their first this. We don't want to be Bedard's first hat trick. We don't want to be Bedard's first wrap. If he can keep himself off of highlight reels that are going to be shown over and over again, and if he can maybe stonewall him a couple times and find himself on the positive end, it's going to be a huge confidence boost. And that it's probably in his head a little bit that this kid is coming and everybody wants him to succeed. So it'd be really nice to see him make some big saves for him and for us.
Exactly. And speaking of saves, that was going to be my second one to watch, was actually on the opposite side of the ice on Peter Mrazek.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, he had a stellar couple of games against us last year. He kind of had a couple where he also stood on his head.
Yeah.
And again,
got it.
It's the beautiful avalanche effect that we tend to have when we let seemingly average goalies show their true potential.
We like getting bullied, yeah.
We are a very gracious and generous team, are we not? But I'm interested to see if he continues to have that type of feeling, because now that the Avalanche are not the most recent Stanley Cup champions, does he play different, right? Because everyone's going to play different against Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Is he going to have a different style to him? And you got to remember that we have a new team, we have new toys, right? I'm interested to see if he makes those playoff Binnington moments.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you got to think that you're playing a little bit looser when your team has got Connor Bedard and you're feeling sexy and everybody's hot on you and they're enjoying. I mean, they've got to have a good vibe in the locker room no matter how much they suck. And playing loose as a goalie is when you have those absolutely ridiculous games. So we might see that again.
No, maybe. So that's about it. It's going to be the Bedard news, and really that's going to be the only underlying story you're going to see. So just hope that the Avalanche can kind of quiet them down. And you're exactly right. So hopefully the ESPN team pays them a compliment early in the game, so I don't have to start throwing all types of wordage at the TV. So next game, this will be Saturday. Avs play host to the Carolina Hurricanes, which the Hurricanes look a bit shaky right now. Granted, they've had a couple of goalie injury stints, right? But that doesn't mean all of a sudden they can turn it on, because you got to keep in mind the Hurricanes are the projected Stanley Cup favorites for this season, so they got that target.
They always are, Nick. They are always on some people's Stanley, and it's always.
It started with the Avs this season, actually, but
well. And I think we'll be back up there in short order. But the thing is, the Canes, every year you look at them from top to bottom, and then goalie injuries and scoring ability. I mean, they got to win it eventually, right? Like, you almost think just like, this is absolutely absurd that they haven't especially like Rod Brindamore's comments about we didn't get swept. Like they're so pissed that they literally can't even make sense at this point. They
I
cannot even
watched the game.
comprehend.
I
Yeah.
watched the series. We didn't get swept.
And that's at some point, I think something will flip a switch for them, but their goalies they've been a perpetual issue for years. And they're not bad goalies, they're just soft goalies. They get hurt. So I don't know. I think it's either going to be a really good game or we might just walk on them. It's one of those ones that you just don't know what you're going to get from them because they have on paper the ability to destroy the league in its entirety.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really do. They have every good defenseman that ever lived besides Cale Makar and Devontae's, it seems.
No, and you're exactly right. So that's what I'm going to tout as my one to watch. Is going to be how the Carolina Hurricanes conduct themselves in this game because they're going to be on. I think it's like a 6-game road trip. I think is what they have, and we might be like we're the last stop or second to last stop, something like that. So they could be either really gassed because they haven't had a break or a going back home.
Yeah.
Or they can, in Spanish in Ecuador, they call it ponte pilas. They can put their batteries in and really, really start to put something together, which again, like we talked about earlier today, any game could be a trap game. We don't even know how this Blackhawks game is going to go, right? So
yeah. And is it Saturday? Is that the day that all 32 teams play, right? Is that Saturday?
Was it?
Maybe it's next Saturday. One of these weekends coming up, all 32 teams play on one day. I think it's Saturday. I might be wrong.
I thought it was. Is it? Oh, no. I think it's Tuesday.
Oh, wow. That's weird.
Is it Tuesday? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. So Tuesday.
Okay. I don't know why I thought it was okay.
Well, I mean, you would have thought Saturday would have been the day to do it, a weekend, but no, it's Tuesday.
And is that when they're doing that red eye type thing? What are they calling it? Ice surfing or something?
The red eye.
They're doing that like
the ESPN, like the red zone, NFL red zone. They're calling it Frozen Frenzy.
Is that what?
Yeah, that'll be that day.
I'm curious to see how that goes.
Interesting. I am too. That is very, very interesting. But yeah, and so anyway, speaking of Tuesday, that would be the other Avalanche game since all 16 matchups are happening at that time. They hit the road to Long Island to play the New York Islanders. This one, I have still a bit of a sour taste in my mouth from last time we were at the UBS Arena where we choked away a, 5-2 lead or something like that, or a 4-1, something big.
Possibly the most frustrating game that the Avs have played that I can name in the last 3 years.
Yeah. So that's my one to watch is how they respond to just keeping the foot on the gas, not letting things go.
They're a slog of a team. They're slow and painful to watch, and it can really mess with us.
But that's what they do. They bore you to death until they score on you. And
that's what the Avs, we almost just outskate ourselves, and we just and I love it, Allie. I did not know that Taze originally played.
We had no clue. We didn't know where he came from.
Breaking news.
We thought he just hatched from an egg.
But these are the teams that we can find ourselves really looking stupid like we have before. So we'll see how we as a team with a bunch of new people can mend and kind of adjust. And these are, going to be learning games where we can figure out how to adjust to these specific teams that give us fits. But yeah, the Islanders are boring and lame and
yeah, and that's one thing. It's like how the Avs play style is going to be too, because we were talking in that San Jose one, don't play down to them, but it's I don't know if you're necessarily playing down when it comes to the Islanders. The Islanders just play a different style of hockey, and I just don't want them to play that style.
Yeah.
The Avalanche they're quick, they're agile, they're shifty, but I don't want it to be one of the Seattle game where it's just dragged. Like it was so hard to watch because it was just like all these mistakes happening, people falling down, running into each other, sloppy hockey.
Yeah, it was sloppy and emotional, which is just
I know.
Really not a good
I
news.
was a wreck, but mostly I was angry at the ESPN team, but whatever.
Yeah, especially with, like, Ray Ferraro, like, I really like him, but I'm pretty sure he was making a diss on us when, the Makar goal was scored, like, he was, like, making a diss about us looking so disjointed or something like that as we were scoring a goal. I
As we're up
remember that.
3-1. Oh,
Yeah.
there's just sloppy hockey from the Avs, and they only have 22 shots on goal. It's like, okay, dude, have you seen the
You almost have
scoreboard?
to
Like,
think that they just kind of have, like, a group think that they grab onto, like, little tidbits that they've discussed amongst themselves, and then they keep regurgitating it until it
yeah,
becomes, like, their general thought, and they're just so off on the Avs, it's just painful.
it's crazy. And what's even more crazy is so we're 4 games in now, right? ESPN is broadcasting
Mhm.
this one. I have yet to watch the altitude broadcast. Because usually what I do is when the Avalanche are playing at San Jose, I'll have the Sharks broadcast going.
Mhm.
So it's whoever's the home team, right? Because it's
Yeah.
my 1-2 teams. So usually I have Randy Hahn
Yeah.
on when it's there. So I still have yet to hear Mosier and Riker
And that,
in
like,
their
changes
sweet
the
voices.
whole vibe of the night, like,
It changes the
it's
whole way
like
you watch the game.
it makes hockey so much more fun, and I just like the Cale Makar thing, I'm so thankful every day that Connor and Riker, I'm so glad that they're
Hmm.
out because they're the best in the league. I don't
Yeah.
care who you are,
And
you have
did you
to look
see
at those
that post
games.
that they had? Some guy, I think he was a Red Wings fan that they later found out. He was being like, "Oh, tell me you're a homer broadcaster without telling me you're a homer." And it's like, dude, first of all, he's with the Altitude Network. He's allowed to be a homer.
Right,
And
are we
second of all,
opposed to homer broadcasters? Like,
it's like he if he's a homer broadcast, he's probably like the best one,
yeah.
and that's
And
what
they're
you
funny
like to
whether
have
you like
that.
the Avs or not. They're just interesting people, regardless of, like, they might the only homerish thing that they do really is, like, call out, like, missed calls, but they're
Hmm.
hysterical even if you're not an
Oh, they're
Avs
great.
fan or a fan of the other team. They're just funny, interesting people. Like, the
Yep.
seagull rant is literally one of my
Oh my.
favorite things of all time,
Oh,
all time. I go watch
sorry.
the Penis McNabb video, like, when I need a laugh, like, I just go randomly I've watched 1,000 times, and it still makes me laugh so hard my stomach hurts. I will, like, start, like, laughing until I cry. I'm not even
See,
kidding.
that's funny because it's because of Mark Mosher where I have started calling Curtis McDermott the Chrysler Town and Country.
Oh my
He was
god,
the one who
they're
said that
so
first,
good.
and I was like, that is the perfect way to put
Oh, I
that.
love it
So,
so much. They're
but
so
so
they're just perfect. They're the best. I
so
don't care what anyone says.
gotta wait a couple more days to actually listen
I know.
to
It's
that
so good.
dynamic duo. But I do go back and watch the replays that can
Yeah.
have altitude on there and listen to their versions there. But in either sense, though, that's going to wrap it up for us this
Yeah.
week. Obviously, we got a game here in a half hour,
Now
so we'll
it's
get
this
off here.
game. I gotta take a
Um, yep. So, anything to add, Britt, before we sign
No.
off?
I just think that the vibes are good, people. Like, if you're
Hmm.
Pissy Pants Avs fan from last year, there's no room for that anymore. Georgie
Nope.
is awesome. We
Yep.
filled our holes. I'm excited to see with the Caleb Jones thing. I think that's really the only kind of questionable thing that we've got left. Every other hole has been filled. Every
Yep.
T has been dotted or T has been slit. Whatever
No,
you do, all
T's
the
are
things you
dotted and
do.
I's are crossed. Yes.
Johnson is maybe the only question mark left, and we've got the answer waiting in the wings. So, like,
Yep.
it's good times, dudes. Like,
It is
don't be
good.
mad, be glad. We're gonna have some weird losses coming up, but we are looking so good. The rest of the league
Yep.
is not happy about it. So it's good times.
82-0 is still on the cards, though. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm here for it.
Anyways, if you liked what you saw, we thank you first of all for joining us on this episode this week. I really do need to mind my manners and thank people first. Thank you everyone for watching this episode of the Clusterpuck Podcast. We really do appreciate it. If you like what you saw, don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to the MHRT network so you can get notified when shows like the Clusterpuck Podcast go live. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Clusterpuck Avs, and then the Clusterpuck Podcast on Facebook. With that being said, we got showtime here in about a half hour, so we will let you guys go, get hyped, get ready, and as always, go Avs go. Have a good week, everyone.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. hustle hard, hustle every